Hi, welcome to another episode of MYD Global. I'm your host, Leanne Hackman-Carty. COVID has hit the retail sector really badly in Canada and beyond. In this episode, I speak with Diane Brisbois. She is the president and CEO of the Retail Council of Canada. They recently put out a playbook for recovery for their members. I'm here today interviewing her, talking about what that resource looks like and how retailers are going to have to pivot in the future. So stay tuned. Well, thanks for taking the time, Diane, to talk to me today. I really appreciate it. Before we get started, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background.
I've been in retail most of my life, and I've been overseeing and managing retail associations for pretty much my entire professional career. I've been the president and CEO of Retail Council of Canada for the last 25 years. Hard to believe. And even though we're going through some very difficult and challenging times, it's still an amazing industry to be involved in and with. So I'm here. I'm here in retail.
Yeah, well, I would say over the last 25 years, you've seen a significant change in the retail industry. I would think out of all the industries, this would be one most impacted by technology, by bricks and mortar versus online. So given what's going on right now with COVID, what do you think some of the main challenges, what are you hearing from your members, main challenges that retailers are facing now?
The challenges are in a couple of buckets. I mean, the most obvious one, as you would know, is the financial side. For most of the retailers, the non-essential retailers, many of them have just been closed for months, even though they may have been in regions of the country where you could be open. But because of public health guidelines, most people were staying at home, so there was absolutely no business. So that was and continues to be a great challenge for all types of retailers, with the exception of obviously grocery and pharmacy. In most cases, have been open and extremely busy. The second challenge is health and safety. What we're saying here is that health and safety is now the new black. It is not something nice to do. It is something that you must do. It's something you need to be passionate about and obsessed with. And number three is employee health. And by that, we don't just mean physical health. We mean mental health. And we were talking a lot about mental health generally. We think that that is good. It is becoming something people are comfortable talking about, but a lot of retailers are not sure how to handle that and how to provide support for their employees, dealing with customers who are anxious, who may be at times angry or impatient, dealing with people who don't know what their future is going to look like. So I would put that in those, the concerns in those three general buckets.
Well, and one of the things that I like to do is try to find resources for people, for businesses, for communities that they can refer to. So right now the internet's just full of all kinds of resources, but finding a good one is the challenge. And I came upon your playbook recently. Can you tell me about this playbook, why you developed it, how it all came to be?
Well, when all of this happened, or in fact before it happened, we saw it coming, so to speak, from different parts of the world. We approached the Boston Consulting Group, and they agreed to work with us to develop what we call the Retail Recovery Playbook. It has become the most popular playbook in Canada if you look at downloads. It's because it was written with the retail sector in mind. It was also developed by chapters, so one is on finance, one is on employees, another on customers, marketing. We sat down and thought, what are all the issues that retailers are going to have to deal with during the crisis and as they try to recover from that crisis. So it's a step-by-step, and what is so good about it is that BCG went around the world through its practice and looked at best practices. So the chapters in the playbook include links to other retailers and other businesses around the world, learning from what they have done. Because as you know, So if you look at Asia, for example, they were months ahead of us. So there were things that retailers were already doing. And then is the checklist, especially for small to mid-sized retailers who didn't have the resources and were hit hard. It's getting something that's done. You just need to put your logo on it and say, okay, I need to follow this checklist so that I can make sure that my store is safe, my employees are safe. And the great thing about the playbook, I can't thank BCG enough for that, is they've agreed to make it evergreen. So as you know, the situation is changing week by week. So the challenges retailers are facing today are very dissimilar to what they were facing 2 months ago. So the playbook continues to update and provide resources for you to to take so that you can help in your recovery. And it's a free playbook.
Whether it's a pandemic like COVID or whether it's a natural disaster, tornado, flood, any hurricane, there are similar issues that a retailer is going to face. And so just having something like this is a great toolkit, a great guide for people to know they don't miss something.
And it's important also for smaller retailers to know that it was also developed for them. There's the BCG RCC Recovery Playbook, and there's also another document. When they land on that page, they'll see about 50 pages of checklists and guidelines. We've also developed really short videos, about 5 minutes, and that's specifically for our smaller retailers so that they can get the information quickly and they can move on, so to speak. And it's going to be important. We've seen how the industry has changed in the last 3 months with the growth of online. A lot of questions about, should I keep my store open or my stores open? What do I do with my inventory? How do I communicate with my customers? Should I just be focusing on e-com? Should I be omni? So those are all of the big issues that retailers are asking. And by the way, we don't believe that it will only be an e-commerce world. We believe it will be a renewed omni-channel retail world where online and brick and mortar will be married better and complement each other better to satisfy customers in this new world.
If you had one piece of advice for retailers right now, what would that be?
Over and above all of the other issues we discussed earlier on, the advice that we give retailers is do not ignore your brick and mortar and do not ignore your digital presence. Think of those as a great marriage. Think of your customer as wanting to shop with you, and that you need to provide the ways by which that customer can reach you, can come to visit you, can experience you. And that includes mobile, that includes online, that includes in-store. So we really are telling retailers, do not underestimate the power of your brick and mortar. Do not underestimate the marriage between the different channels you have to satisfy that new customer. They will all be important.
Thanks again, Diane. Take care.
It was great talking.